So we had quite a strange summer here, although it's been a little bit gloomy. We've not really had rain for quite some time. And so the ground has got really dry and we're having a little bit of a drought, which is very sad to walk out into my local woods and see all the small trees suffering and really dying off, shedding their leaves and turning brown. And it's always a little bit sad at this time of year as summer starts to wrap up. And it's beautiful to see the fruition of nature as all the leaves begin to wither but the fruits begin to bud, and really now is just the time between summer and autumn where we wait for the warm sun just to sweeten the fruits and just to give us a last harvest. So at this time of year it's the hottest, but it's also a sense of things winding down. And somehow it's a little sad to say goodbye to the summer, but hopefully it will end this dry season and the plants can recover again. I'm always surprised at the resilience of life, how they can suffer adverse conditions, but somehow life comes bouncing back. It just shows us that we are more resilient than we think we are, and sometimes we just pray for good conditions to return and have faith knowing that we'll probably get by and we'll probably get through this. So the drought has been a little scary. We did have some rain and that just freshened the trees and allowed them to have a good drink again. But we're still forecast for possibly water shortages, reservoirs are emptying, and so we've got to be a little bit careful with our water use.
The fall is coming, I can feel it. The breeze brings goosebumps to my skin.
But hopefully it'll be over soon and we can return to a sense of safety and security. Because in the local area on the hottest day, there were quite a few wildfires. And in fact, just one of the local villages, they actually lost a couple of houses. And so things can go up so quickly and get out of hand. And yeah, that's a little scary. So we had a local fire and it was a few miles away from me, but just on the edge of the town. And so I thought I would go along and have a look and try and do some healing for the area. So I've reached a place where I come and explore quite often, but I'm quite nervous about coming down here because, as you can see, it's quite... There's a strange air about the place. It's all dead. It's all kind dried up and trees dying, and there's a little bit of a fire down here the day we had the hottest day. So, a bit wary of going to see what happened. It's not got very good energy. Oh, this has quite a shocked air about it. I guess that's where the fire was. That must have gone up. So lucky that that was put out. Apparently it set alight at 2 AM. The fact that anyone knew was quite lucky, I suppose. You can still smell all the burning. This happened about a week ago. You can still smell the smell of fire. All the animals and all the trees. Must have been terrified. I'm only about 2 miles, maybe a mile from the town, so could have so easily just satellite houses. Scary. Look at that, so sad. Half burnt tree. Quite scary, that bit. That felt quite sickening. It really feels like it's still smouldering, and maybe just a little bit of sunlight on some glass would flare that up again. I'm a bit worried being here, to be honest. It seems quite warm.
Is ash.
has been taken, and I'm down here looking for a little bit of corn that might have been left to do a corn dolly, but I can find very little that's been left around, so I'll have a look. If not, I might have to use some dry grass. But I wanted to do a kind of little bit of healing for this place, a little bit of blessing for the nature spirits here. So I found a few stalks. So, wow, that's quite traumatic. It's a little area that was set light by the intense heat and the very dry ground. Just July the 18th, the Monday, it hit 40 degrees. Yeah, we had a little fire here apparently at 2 AM, and luckily somebody noticed it and put it out, otherwise it could have spread quite a long way. So that was very lucky, but there's a very damaged feeling about the place now. And to be honest, I don't like being here. It feels like it's still smouldering to me. It does feel dangerous, you know. And it's very, very dry out here. And apparently the subsoil is incredibly dry, so even when it rains, it won't soak in. So I've gone out and wet my garden down with some watering cans, just so that the rain doesn't, you know, bounce off the ground, just so that the rain has a chance to soak in, because my tree is looking a little withered and dying. So it's kind of a little sad. And it's very hot today, although we've had a lot of rain now, so it's dampened the trees a little bit, but the grass is still dry, and it really is quite dry out here still. So what I've done is I wanted to make a corn dolly, so I went and found some leftovers, and this is actually barley, but I thought it'd be nice to hang a little blessing somewhere along the lane for the nature spirits, for a bit of healing. So I'm going to make a corn dolly if it's not too dry and brittle. Dry. Yeah, that is too dry. So I've got a little bit of this barley, and I'll probably take it home. I might soak it. I might just use it as an altar decoration. Taken from here, which is what we call the Devil's Plantation. What I'm going to call the Devil's Plantation. Which is a little bit of land that's on the side of a field that's not cultivated. I kind of like that idea. So, I'm going to take this home and attempt to do something with it, but I think it's too dry. It really is too dry. Corn dollies are a traditional blessing to give thanks to the nature spirits, really. And it's traditional to use the last bits of leftover corn that you may find on the side of a field after the harvest. And the idea is that it gives the nature spirits a home for the winter, to invite them to stay so that they may return in the spring. You can hang them in your home, or you could hang them on a gate. It's quite traditional to hang them by the field. So that's what I thought I would do. Also, if you do keep them in your home, you can return them in the spring back to the field, and the idea is that the corn dolly is then ploughed back into the land. Okay, so I brought what was left of these home, and they might have got a little broken in my bag, and as you can see they're dripping because I've just soaked them for a couple of hours. It's made them nice and bendy again. So I'm going to attempt to do a little corn dolly, just a simple corn dolly. And of course these are traditionally taken from the last scraps of corn that are left in the field. And I'm hoping that this can be some kind of sympathetic nurturance of Mother Earth and blessing for all that she has to offer, and a prayer that she can be healed if she needs to be healed in ways that mankind may need to change, to take more care of her. So I kind of imbued that as I applied the water onto the barley here, to make it soft and supple, that somehow it can symbolise the relationship between ourselves and the earth getting soft and supple and caring. And also it can symbolise dampening down the situation, cooling the earth, making sure the rain gets to the crops. Of course the crops are a little greedy about rain, so partly maybe looking at our relationship to agriculture needs some healing. So I'm going to try and imbue all of that into these kind of quite dodgy stalks and see whether I can manage to make a little corn dolly. Okay, I'm going to go and do that outside. So the process of making a corn dolly is quite easy. You need 5 stalks and you spread them out into 4 directions. One of the directions has 2 stalks. Then you weave one of the stalks over the next direction, and then you weave the outer stalk over the next direction, and you carry on doing this so that as you spread out you take the stalk to the edge of the next stalk, and when you want to come back in you take the stalk inwards to the inner edge of the next stalk, so that hopefully you are weaving a square that moves outwards and a square that moves inwards. So I'm adding lavender and hyssop and some flowers from my garden to this corn dolly just to decorate them. And the lavender I see as a cooling influence, and hyssop is for protection and purification. So I think these would be good herbs to use. Well, I think it turned out quite nice actually. I think this bit's gorgeous. And I think I want to make another so I can put one in my home, but I'm going to go and hang this one somewhere discreet up on the lane where the fire was. And unfortunately I didn't do the beginning tight enough. It's always really difficult at the beginning, so I kind of plaited on a bit and left a long stalk. I think I should really make sure that, well, obviously something snapped in there. So I think we'll just call it good enough, but maybe thicker straws, and maybe sort of soak them a little bit longer, and try not to carry them home in your bag because they get broken so easily. But I'm going to go and take that up the hill, and then if I can find some more barley there, I'll take some more and I will keep practicing. But this is my little offering for the land, to say thank you for the harvest and to ask for continued blessing upon the ability to create that harvest, because nothing is ever taken for granted, is it? So I'll go and leave this somewhere now.